Welcome everybody, welcome back to another video coming to you from the tomb of illumination. Today's video is basically the physics of our flat earth. How many times have you heard these globe simple mind people say to you, we don't have a model, the flat earthers do not have a model? How many times have you heard that? I mean, they have to repeat it to try and convince themselves, I think. So I'm going to run over our model, the one and only flat earth model. We'll start with the Gleason map, shall we? Gleason map. So you take the circle of the earth. You've got the northern hemisphere, the tropical gap, and the southern hemisphere. And you draw the flat earth continents in on that map, on that plan view there, right? There's the centre Arctic. Everything expands outward. It's a known fact that everything expands out from the north to the south. They don't want you to know that. They keep ignoring that. It's a known fact. All relative to the observer. You move south, everything expands with you. You're expanding in the ether, just as these arcs of longitude show. So you set the map up on your flat plane here according to arcs of longitude. So all these positions laid out in this Gleason map are in the correct positions for longitude, arcs of longitude. Okay? Latitude stays equal. It's like a wave. Drop a pebble in a pond and watch the wave move out. It's all symmetrical as the wave moves out, isn't it? But everything expands out because the centre of creation is back in the centre of a vortex, centre of the toroidal field. Centre of the toroidal field comes out of the centre and expands outward. But you need to consider that as just the northern hemisphere, because the southern hemisphere is mirrored. It's like inside out. So you need to concentrate on the northern hemisphere to understand the basics. Okay? So understand that plan. Southern hemisphere all the way around the center northern hemisphere. Surrounds the northern hemisphere. There's the northern hemisphere. So everything is mirrored out to here from the center point inside here. The center Arctic becomes the anti-Arctic. It's imagine inside out, a toroidal field put inside out. What goes on in here goes on out here, but it's all expanded outward, isn't it? It seems a lot different because it's expanded out. Expansion. So if you're in the northern hemisphere, right up in here, look what you've got out here now. Whatever was in here, you come out here, so you're that big. Now you're, relative to those lines, you're this big, you could say. Just bear this in mind, nothing's frickin' perfect here. This is overall. So you are now that big. So if you're that big and you're seeing all this, it's all broadly expanded, hasn't it? So why do you think all the photographers love to come out and video the Milky Way in the southern hemisphere? It's a no-brainer, isn't it? It's been known for years. Everything expands as you move south. That's one thing simple-minded people do not want to accept and don't want you to know about. So there's just the northern hemisphere. Concentrate on the northern hemisphere. If you're a beginner, that is, because this mirrored effect into the south, it's basically what it is, mirrored but inverted, gets a bit complicated for these beginners. So there's your northern hemisphere sky. Okay, there's your northern hemisphere sky up in here, tucked inside, magnetically locked inside the areas that we dwell in. We dwell out here. This is our realm. There's the circle right in the centre there. I mean, this is the northern hemisphere. Right in the centre there is the Arctic, and it goes up like this, the V shape. It's the centre vortex of creation. And look, it comes out and spans all the way out to the Tropic of Cancer. Could say the equator if you want, but you've got to realise there's two sky rotations, and it finishes at Cancer. Star rotations. Dot all those. You get a gap. There's a gap here in the sky rotations, and there's your southern hemisphere separated. Okay, so there's a separation in here where the stars just appear to go straight through. They're not part of this rotation in either hemisphere. If you understand, or you've done celestial time lapse or star trail photography. Okay, and this point, this dead centre here represents the dead centre of here. Okay, the dead centre. You've got this portion of the hemisphere, or whatever, northern hemisphere, and you got this portion, the southern hemisphere. So we got the tropical gap here. So basically, that's the celestial tropical gap. But you've also got to realise the ratio difference: the big southern hemisphere and the smaller northern hemisphere. And that part there, this tropical gap, celestial tropical gap, is not even overall, but it's all relative to the observer, so it seems to be even. So if you lay that out, big southern hemisphere, there's little northern hemisphere. See, little northern hemisphere, there's your big southern hemisphere. That crossover point's basically pretty up here near Cancer. Okay, so where we get the equinox out here, that's not the division, that's not that point here. Equinox is just equal day and night of each hemisphere. It's not this divine period here, but we won't get into that. If you want to go deep, you have to watch a lot more of my other videos. So let's draw the entire flat earth system down here, shall we? These are centre north, so it's going to go like this. It's going to, the toroidal field. So we're inside this toroidal field. We cannot get into this space here in the centre here. All of creation is in here, all projected out. It's the point of explosion, the centre point of the expansion. We all exist out here due to what's happened in here and what's happening in here. And as this turns, the central vortex of creation turns, it sends the electromagnetic field around our Earth. And we're the pixelated creatures in the show. It's just a holographic projection, holographic universe. Okay, all coming from in here. There's a centre core all the way down here, and there's the other bit that comes over here. This is the Milky Way that we only see at night. And in here we have to draw the tropical gap. Okay. I'm no artist. There's a tropical gap all the way around here. Right? There's the tropics. So you get, that's what it looks like, and then the magnetic field comes up out of here, comes up and over, down to Capricorn. This is the tropical boundary of Capricorn, straight down into the ground. And then along the ground, through the ground, then comes up here. Comes back up this way. Magnetic field. Over there, straight to there. It doesn't cross over the tropics. Nothing crosses the tropics. And then this field comes up, comes over there and goes straight down there. Nothing, it doesn't cross the tropics. There's the tropical gap. That goes down through the earth, and then back up again. So I've just shown you the ancient infinity symbol. It continuously flows like that. Or if you're on this side of the flat earth, it's going up this way, then down here. Out of here, up there, and down here. So you're lying scientists and your NASA education system all try to tell you that the magnetic field crosses the tropics in this brain dead zombie model. They're trying to tell you it comes out of here and goes all the way around into here. It doesn't even cross the tropics. How does it get round there? That's not enough. The truth is, it does come out of here and it comes out of here. Nothing goes in there, it all comes out of here. It goes around to there and around to there. Whoa, why aren't they teaching you that? Because the whole thing's a con, a lie, mind control, to keep everybody as the dumb zombies they are. They like you as a dumb zombie. And just think about it. They want you to believe that the earth expands from the north, Arctic, expands out like this, takes a breather where it does not expand, it's just dead straight across the tropics, and then decides to shrink in on itself. What in nature does that? What the heck travels, expands so far, takes a 47 degree, basically a straight line rest, no expansion, no movement, and then gets to this point and starts shrinking away back again on itself. There's nothing logical about this at all. Delusional. The tilt. They have to put their globe on a tilt because the tilting magnetic field, the flux, Earth follows the tilting of the Earth's magnetic field. The long story, you have to check out my earlier videos for that. So when you look at the model, we've got too many lines there. You see that? When you look at the overall model, there's centre north, right? Where's south? So let's say we draw Punta Arenas down here, somewhere in here, and you make Jaron decide to park up down here. Well, him and his thick cronies have all decided that's it. That's the South Pole. That's the South Pole there, everybody, because Jaron and his mate said so. Because the cycle back in here, he's getting a mirrored cycle back out here. So there's your northern hemisphere. You could follow the cycle. That's the cycle overall of the celestial bodies. They go around daily, of course. Well, on a daily trip, that's the stars doing a cycle like this. So that's the northern hemisphere. Now you go and mirror that to the south, because everything's projected out from the north, mirrored to the south. It's Arctic, anti-Arctic, the inversion. So it's mirrored but inside out. That's what a toroidal field does. Inversion. Inversion expressed out. So that, what's going on in the north, is mirrored, inverted to the south. So he's getting a cycle of the sun going around him there. Why wouldn't he? If the sun's going around up here, he'll get a mirrored image out here. Just like this guy is going to get one out here. Now if these guys have got a lot of money and they like to waste it and fool you, why don't they have someone travel south from Punta Arenas and maybe someone travel south from, say, what have we got here? Russia or somewhere. So they've travelled south from South America down here, out here. How about someone go south on this path and park themselves up there? They'll be nowhere near Jiren and his mates, but they're going to see a 24-hour sun as well. Well, why don't you park someone up over here, someone up over here? And because of this, they tell you to live on a ball because everything comes back to the centre point. No, around here, around that shoreline of Antarctica is close to 60,000 kilometres. There's no way they're all going to be standing huddled together there at the South Pole. Are they? No. So the fact is, everything does expand outward, so you're going to end up getting closer together here, because you need to understand this distance from there to there is equal to there, because it's all relative to you, relative to the observer. You've expanded with the field, so there's no difference. This is the weird thing with our world. This is why they had a cylinder model. The Earth was a cylinder. You're travelling east and west. You've got the Geuss, the Mercator map, where all the arcs of longitude are parallel, because it's relative to the observer. It's all equal. It's all equal. It's all equal because you've expanded. So there's you, there's you, there's you, there's you. Expand in the field. That means you're always relative. Everything is relative to you. It's all parallel. So this expansion, at the end of the day, it's hidden. Like the centre Arctic. They stop short of sending all the arcs of longitude into the centre, don't they? Well, you can't get right into the centre. So you've got a distance around here. I think they call it only 16,000 kilometres. But around here you've got 56 or something thousand kilometres around the shoreline of the Antarctica. So you need someone to go and shoot out here, someone to be out here, and out here. And neither of them are going to see each other, but they're all going to have their sun cycle because it's all mirrored from in here at this time of the year, December, say December solstice. Everything expands out. There's your cylinder, cylindrical model. There's the Mercator model, and then you've got the Gleason model. Now you've got to be intelligent to understand. You've got to have a couple of, chocolate chips in your biscuit to realise why you have all these three models and why they all need to be associated with the overall flat Earth design. And I've just explained how and why. So if you don't get that, you're not ready. You're definitely not ready to wake up. It's a zombie department. When you wake up, you start to understand this whole system here. There's your northern hemisphere. The moon takes a cycle overall in a month. It all comes from inside the central vortex here. The central vortex of creation. The moon's going around every day like this. See this expansion? That's full moon out here. Full moon, it's full moon is when it's up and out there. New moon is down in here. It's close to the centre core. And the centre core is the black hole with the actual plasma sun on its horizon. This is back at creation, okay? We don't see all this. We only see it at night. Because this core is one end of the Milky Way, and the other end comes over there. Comes over into here. That's where we see our sun. I won't go too deep, but that's what you see at night. You see the Milky Way at night. We don't see the Milky Way during the day where the sun is. Okay? Where this is night time over this side, so we're seeing all this. Even though it's curving like that, somehow we see the whole Milky Way. Okay? The whole picture. 'Cause each hemisphere gets an entire image of both sides. We'll get the bulge. It's more obvious in the southern hemisphere. You see the bulge. Where it's sort of like this. Across the sky. In good photography. As the bulge. It's in here. And we're told that's Sagittarius A. That's the black hole. And in there is the sun. The sun's obviously shining the other way because this is night time. Sun's shining that way. This is why we have the white cloud in behind, the Geussian. Okay. So the moon's doing this cycle all over the month. But if you just how else describe this? But on an overall, if you took the sun, the moon analemma, say, and you're looking down that way, instead of seeing the analemma like this, because the moon does one and the sun, you're looking down this way instead of sideways, looking down that way. You see this cardinoid, because there's your golden ratio, half cycle, 14 days. Moon cycle, and then it's 14 days goes back in and around close into the sun. There's a black hole in there. You can say the black hole. And look at this image in anatomy. Can you see things here? The moon, the female. And the true plasma sun's hidden in here, depending on what time of the 24-hour it is, but somewhere around here, on the horizon of the black hole. You don't see the pure plasma sun, you only see its image out here as the Milky Way, like a straw in a cup, turns around the flat Earth system. So that's the same cycle as the stars take over the night. The same cycles, yes, there's the daily cycle of the stars. But monthly the moon's going around like this all the time and then back up again. But overall, if you took an image each day for over 14 days, this is what you get. This pattern. If you're looking down that way, but we don't, do we? Up in the sky, and it's all deceiving for us. The science tries to draw the picture of the sun doing a cycle like this. You try and imagine that in 3D. I'm not a good artist. But then it has to come back in again. So you get this figure 8, the analemma again. So let's understand that's just the northern hemisphere. Now you've got to imagine that right back in here being cast out as a mirror effect in the southern hemisphere. It's understanding the toroidal field, the torus. When all the energy is always coming out of the north. Spans out in the season, then it shrinks back in the season. But you've got to think about it. You need to separate this from the south. So this is just the northern hemisphere going so far. And then whatever's happening here is happening this way in the south, coming back into this way. So this expands out to the tropical boundary of Cancer. They throw out into the southern hemisphere. It's sort of, you've got to imagine just one side of this coming back into Capricorn. You've got to stretch this out all the way around here. So it's folding inward into the Tropic of Capricorn. This one expanding outward to the Tropic of Cancer. So the field's coming out, going under the earth and back over and back in again. Like I've just drawn here. So it all expands out of the north to this point. And it's magnetic field, not the earth itself. And it goes through the earth to come out and go over this way. Through the earth to come back over here. So it's going like this. So there's your earthly image model here. Not this silly single domed idea like just like this. Okay? Like this and like this. Then you got to imagine your tropical gap in here. Okay? Does not cross over there. You could complete that up over there if you wanted to. But all the magic's in here. That's creation. A Superman symbol. They all know. They knew. Hollywood knows the truth. You've seen this map. There's airports around the world with an image like this. You know it's true, but people are just born brain dead. They want to stay brain dead, and they'll stick with this idea. They don't even understand anything about flat Earth. One of their first silly questions: you can't even describe day and night or explain day and night. I just explained day and night here. The Milky Way moving around the flat Earth. Milky Way with the sun in it, because the sun's back here. We get the image out here, moving around the flat Earth as the clock hand. If the sun's around here, obviously it's dark over there. It only comes out of the Milky Way. That's your torch. There's the torch. There's the bulb. It's facing this way. It's not facing that way. Yeah. Now my earlier videos had I hadn't clicked onto this. I had this sun, because I knew it was a kneecap, described as a kneecap in the Iliad, and the elbow and other stories, and that band in the Boomerang Dreamtime Aborigine stories. So I'm thinking it's all just aiming out this way, but no, it's the Milky Way. Yeah, it's a bit tricky when you come to think about it at night, because curving this way to the sun, how are we seeing this curve like this, like we're looking this way in the night image? But you just got to imagine it being all cast up into the sky this way, and then the inverted mirrored effect into the southern hemisphere. See, so the globies, the brain dead, who know the model, they don't want you to know the true model. And so they pick on things like, well, that's just too complicated. Why is it too complicated? Why do you have to be a brain dead zombie to understand reality? You need a few chocolate chips in the old brain there to understand it. Don't just be a dummy and go for the simple model that doesn't make sense. It's not practical. It's not reality. You've got to go deep and think about it. You'd have to watch a lot of my videos. You can't just see a couple and think you're going to find the model. Go right back. I've got images in my YouTube that show this model straight away. There's very early videos. So you've got the cardanoid here, and a half cycle of a cardanoid is the golden ratio. And the golden ratio plays a big part in our flat Earth model, because that's the difference between the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere too. That's the ratio. Or I just call it a 3:2. And that's your sun and limit. That's a magnetic field, basically. There's a ratio difference, 3:2. But we don't see the true difference, because we're just looking up at the sky and we see the sun's in a lemma, but we're fixed only on one position on the earth, aren't we? We're not up here privy to that smaller field. We're not out here privy to the larger field. We're just random, and we all observe the world around us within our arc of horizon. So we're standing here. Everything is just seen perpendicular off the arc. It's the world around us. That's your horizon. To there, to there. It's only 3 miles each way at sea level. We see everything here. That's all we see until we move, and we get more of the overall image of the earth when we move. This is what the peacock represents. All the creatures on earth represent something to do with creation. All these animals the Egyptians worship and mention, they got the hippopotamus and his little wiggly tail. Well, you got the flat earth system here, haven't you? A little wiggly tail, that's the Milky Way. Or the pig and his little wiggly tail, representing the Milky Way. You've got the peacock. You've got the, well, it's more modern, but you've got the phoenix rising, the jewel head, coming up out of the gap between the two fields when they separate at a certain time of the year. It's in my videos, other videos. Or the double-sided bald eagle. Other creatures, you have the crocodile. The crocodile represents the Milky Way. The bulge in his teeth sort of looks a bit like that, if you want. The eye of the crocodile, that's the sun, the black hole, Sagittarius A, whatever you want to call it. And other depictions show you a sort of a monster with a big jaw open like this. In ancient Mayan or Aztec, and then they have this a locking system here in his teeth. It's describing the Milky Way. You go in, you get locked in, you get stuck in. That's it, you can't get out. Going through the Milky Way. But realise the sun is on the horizon of the black hole. It's locked there. It cannot fall in from that position. Just like a ring magnet. You put the sun on the horizon there. Look, you try pushing it in. It's not falling in the hole, is it? Falling in the hole? No. No, you've got to come up and get into the Milky Way. Get into the centre of the Milky Way. Doesn't always happen, but you've got to get inside that convergence zone. Well, maybe it's too high. To go right through the middle. And see, it stops there. Stops in there, doesn't it? It doesn't shoot out the other end. It went around that way, but it's getting deep. But the sun is magnetically locked on the horizon and travels around the horizon of the black hole. The sun is a star, but he was the lucky one. He became illuminated. So that illumination becomes the sun. It's still a star at night because this is Polaris. Straight up is Polaris. Doing a small circle. Okay, just like the sun is doing here. A circle, a small circle. It's right back at nothingness. You consider that as nothingness, but exploded to create our realm. And there's the sun at the end of the Milky Way. Don't go in. It's not supposed to go in. You know, obviously you can push it in with my fingers if I want to, but and it gets locked halfway down because there's the two forces of nature. The two forces of nature come together, and that's what's created Earth. They come together and bang, the plane of inertia. That's that central place in that ring magnet, fixed and stationary. That's why the ancient Egyptians tell us Earth is from the hole. Because the centre black hole is the fixed and stationary plane. Earth itself is the fixed and stationary plane. The two forces come together, which science likes to call gravity when they should just call it magnetism. everything falls back to this plane of inertia, just like that metal ball bearing fell to the center of the two magnetic fields. Stuck in the center here. There. In the center. The plane of inertia. All makes total sense when you think about it. There's nothing practical or logical about this. Living upside down, spinning on a ball, but no, you don't feel any of that because we just magically describe how and why you don't feel it, how and why it spins, but no, it's just garbage. Earth is fixed, the magnetic field is in here, it all comes from in here and turns the whole system, the toroidal field, the Coriolis, the magnetic wave, whatever you want to call it, dark matter, black, whatever. It's forever turning, just like the pixels on your TV. And you've got your images moving in the pixels. Same thing. We imitate, everything down here on Earth imitates creation. So show us how the TV imitates this. Everything we do imitates something to do with creation. Think about it. Go back to their model and think about everything they tell you and think, well, where does that work? How does that work in nature? Where else does it do that? Like I showed earlier. How does it expand? Stop expanding, all that distance, 47 degrees. There's dead straight between there and there. There's no declination, magnetic field curve or declination. Tides, currents, winds do not cross the tropics. They're separate. They could basically die there and then start shrinking back. It just doesn't make sense. It's just not logical. You've got to be a flippin' brain dead zombie. And the world's full of them. And they're trying to convince you that's the state we should all be in. We should all be brain dead zombies. Because people believe this. You want to start understanding all this? Do what I did. Start off watching the moon. Get yourself a P900 or 1000, whatever. Start videoing, filming, zoom into the moon, do star trail photography, time-lapse photography, see the two separate rotations. Travel the world, do it in different places. Watch the southern hemisphere, stars move north, and then they come back. You've got to be really switched on to understand that though. Because God has made this world in a way where only the wise get to understand it. It's so tricky. He's just hidden everything. You got the center northern star rotations, and this southern one completely separated after the 17th of October, but then starts drifting back in. So it'll drift back north. Comes right up and overlays the northern hemisphere. And there you have your Physica Piscis. It's to do with religion. Because this is the state of rest. This is where the 3-to-2 ratio becomes equilibrium. Okay? This bigger field, the 3 and the 2 in here, this overlay has caused them to be both equal, you could say 2 and 2. You've lost the 1 in here, uneven 1 in here. See how that works? And as this moves in like this, it's creating the new constellations. Because everything's turning, everything's moving around. That southern, this is turning, but it's not moving out. It's just turning. But this field here is turning. It's moving all the way around. This southern hemisphere magnetic field moves all the way around the center northern hemisphere, separated by this tropical dielectric zone. Okay. It's complicated for me trying to explain the overlay and the tropical gap, but just go with the basics for now. It overlays. You don't really see. It gets tricky trying to understand what the stars are doing in here, but these stars end up crossing over and coming into the northern hemisphere here. So we see all the constellations around here. Okay, and the religious story 2 by 2. Well, the constellations there and they're there. The animals are there and they're there. 2 by 2, they come together. It's the holy. It's all of what religion's all about. It's marrying these two up, 2 by 2, because at the end of the day, it boils down to the two Milky Ways aligning. So you got a Milky Way coming out of here over to there, and you got a Milky Way coming out of here over to there. 2 by 2, this marrying with this. And at this Physica period, everything is joined. So where do you live on the earth? Do you live here, 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 or here? This overlay will approach you. And there's a time in your life where it's directly in your zone, this overlay. That's a 2 by 2, and that just leads into all of religion, the whole divine story of existence, why we're here, the meaning to life, opening the third eye, opening the rest of your brain so you don't have to die being a brain dead zombie. Okay? All these people here are going to die as a brain dead zombie, then they're going to reincarnate and come back and have another go. Depending on how brain dead they are, depends on how many cycles of reincarnation they have to go through before they become illuminated and understand the truth. Open up the third brain. The old hypothalamus. Is it the hypothalamus? The third brain. You've got the you've got your pineal gland, and you've got the pituitary gland. So you have the moon, and we have the sun. This is the Son of Man. His pineal gland needs to be illuminated, and it's via the pituitary gland, which is the moon. Man needs the moon to be illuminated. Woman need the sun. They're looking for the male entity to awaken them. So the way I see it is the man, it comes like a thief in the night for the man. The sun's on the other side of the earth when it's all happening. It's all to do with his full moon sign. This is going deep into religion. I'm not going there. The video is about the flat earth model and understanding it. See the cycle there it takes? Center black hole. You imagine this circle here being the flat plane up here of creation, which is cast up into the northern sky. Okay? From there, it's mirrored out here to the south. Let's not go there. Let's stick with the north for now. But it's a dual system. One's inverted to the other. And divinity is about the two aligning at a certain time to create the crossing of the Red Sea, or the parting of the Red Sea. Okay, so this is what's going up in the northern sky, but the moon's going around, winds all the way in, all the way into the center here to align with the sun and the black hole. Then it winds all the way out, right out to Saturn, if you want, the full moon, which is on the opposite side of the actual sun's, the Milky Way's projection. If the Milky Way's come around this way and there's your daylight, obviously full moon will be here. It's opposite, dead opposite. And you look at that, and then you go into the zodiac. See how simple it is to associate this with the zodiac? There's the zodiac signs. There. Oh, that was bad. that goes over to there, that one goes over to there. Straight up to there, straight up to there. There's all your zodiac signs. And this is why you get a variance in the moon being in a particular sign. They're all slightly different because of this wider field. It's going to be shorter in that zodiac sign as opposed to way back in here. Look, or my other way around. I get back things come. I get things back to front at times. This races into here, so I'd say this is a shorter time, maybe a shorter time in that zodiac sign, and a longer time out here. That's sort of contradicting my expansion thing, I think, a little bit. You've got to imagine this is how it works. Even science tells you, oh, it's because the moon does ellipses. They think it does ellipses, but really it's doing this. It's doing this S curve. Okay. So maybe it's a longer journey because you've got this curve here. So it's in that sign a lot longer. But out here it's more direct because it's bigger. Maybe that's the shorter. There's the longer. Look, that's coming all the way down through into here. Remember, these are all equal. From there all the way down into there. That may be a longer period. Shorter period out here. But this whole system is always moving that little bit. Because when the moon goes into the sun, this real sun, remember everything's a projection out into our realm, so come back to creation. Every time the moon comes into here, it sits with the sun for 2.2 days. They go around together because they are one. The sun and the moon are one, but they separate the male and the female, just like we do in the physical world and when we're born, male and female. Back at creation, we're dual. That's just showing us what happens. It's the duality. We have to come together like this, back to one singularity, to be illuminated, to get out of this matrix, to leave the zombie land. So the moon's coming in, becoming one with the sun, and then 2.21 days, I think it is. The sun comes out ahead of the moon, leaving the moon behind. That's when you see a lion's claw of the new moon, the waxing. And races ahead, and so the whole cycle over the month, the sun is raced ahead of the moon and nearly catches the moon, but doesn't quite, because it falls short. You've got the sidereal. Is it the sidereal? Sidereal cycle 27.314, I think it is. And then you have the sardonic 29.52. Well, the difference in there, I think it's that one, is the how the sun doesn't quite catch up with the moon to lap it. The moon races around the end of the month and it's just short by that much. And I was going to do a video on this a couple of days back. I had all the information, now I've forgotten it. If I don't do the video when I'm thinking about it, I just lose it all. Because you've got to sit around and do a lot of thinking if you're going to start putting stuff like this on the board and explaining it to people. I'm not in that zone at the minute. But just like the sun doesn't quite lap the stars over 1 year, the sun doesn't quite lap the moon over 1 month. They like to tell you that the stars are quicker than the sun, which is all BS. I've explained that plenty of times in my videos. The sun is ahead of the stars by 4 minutes every day. It's racing ahead. It comes all the way around here and just finished short. So that shortness is dropping the sun back in the constellations, right? I think I'll finish it there. Thanks for watching. If you like this sort of thing, think about joining up. Join the club. Don't forget to put a likes up and share it.